Why are people suddenly bringing back retro-styled phones? Nostalgia definitely plays a big part in it, but that's not the real reason. Now we have phones like the iPhone 17, which are really fast and powerful. But modern phones are designed to keep you hooked. Every year, the phones become bigger, louder, faster, and you'll end up wasting more and more time staring at a screen. That's why a lot of people are demanding something simpler, something that cuts out all noise but can still keep up with modern tech.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Andy Matrix. I'm back with another video, and today we're talking about physical media. Now, I want you guys to know something, because I actually don't have a lot of physical media. I actually don't have a lot of physical media because, I mean, I have a laptop, I have controllers, I have keyboard, I have that type of hardware. But I don't have a lot of DVDs. I had manga, but I sold it. I sold all my manga. I'm not a big physical collector. I just don't. And the reason why is because when it comes to living standards, or rather not living standards, but when it comes to residency, I move a lot. I am not in an area for very long, I guess. Let's just put it that way. And so as a result, I try to, use a lot of, have all my media digital, because I can just, pick it up and go, right? I get my games from Steam, my music from YouTube, my videos from Netflix, and you get the point. However, that being said, I am an advocate for physical media because I understand the importance of it. And I understand that, we're living in this digital age where, we don't have ownership over freaking nothing. I mean, now, what is it? Bill Gates, Microsoft, they're talking about the next Windows. Like, when you buy a new laptop, the laptop is not going to be yours, because of the new operating system that's going to have after Windows 11, right? It's a lot of bullshit. It's just a lot of bullshit happening. But anyways, today we are going to see some TikTok videos about people, trying to go back to physical media and regain their sanity from all the brain damage they got from, modern day technology, whether it's your phones, smartphones, too much screen time, all that stuff. So let's go ahead and take a look at our first video.
Why are people suddenly bringing back retro-styled phones? Nostalgia definitely plays a big part in it, but that's not the real reason. Now we have phones like the iPhone 17, which are really fast and powerful. But modern phones are designed to keep you hooked. Every year, the phones become bigger, louder, faster, and you'll end up wasting more and more time staring at a screen. That's why a lot of people are demanding something simpler, something that cuts out all noise but can still keep up with modern tech. And this phone is a perfect example of that. It looks like a normal retro phone at first, with the flip designs and satisfying buttons. Even the pictures taken look straight out of the 2000s, but it is actually an Android smartphone that can run modern apps like TikTok, Netflix, Maps, and even games. That way, you can enjoy your favorite apps without all the chaos. If you're looking to unplug and reset, this is the perfect phone to get this Christmas.
Yo, wow, that actually looks pretty cool. You know what? I actually want one. I want one. That actually looks pretty cool. I didn't know those were around. So basically what they did is that they just took the old school flippy phones and turned them into, they just added the Android operating system in it. And then you can download Spotify, TikTok, all that stuff, and still have the really cool retro flippy phone. Wow. I like that. That's cool. And the great thing about these phones is that, now you can add apps to it. But the great thing about these phones is that you can close them. And what that does is it does something to your brain where, when you close the screen, it tells you, it forces your brain to also what's the word I'm looking for? It's like your brain also accept that it's time to stop looking at it, right? Because the problem with the smartphone is that you always have the screen. It's a screen, right? And just at the push of a button, you can start watching videos. But with a flippy phone, it gives you that same suggestion to your brain, like you're turning off the TV and it's time to go. It's time to go do something else, right? So, and also it's just less chaos. You have less apps, right? You have less apps in your phone. If you want to go to TikTok, you can use it. And it doesn't have so much memory where you can like shove in all these apps in there. You might have Spotify, maybe one social media, and that's it. Right? And that's good. I like that. I really, really, really like that because it reduces the amount of noise you get from the internet. All right, so let's go ahead and watch our next video.
With streaming services being trash, I decided to focus on like physical media, which is getting DVDs, and I decided to get a little old school DVD TV. It's a Orion 9-inch with the little remote. I think it was like $140 something on eBay. That was including shipping. Like the unit itself wasn't what was expensive. It was more the shipping because it is big honker and it is heavy. It's not that bad. It's not like that heavy, but to ship it is considered heavy. So the shipping rates were high. I love it. I have the little remote. It has a sleeping setting. Where I'm finding myself using it the most is using it at night because I like having two screens. I'll be doing something on my laptop and I'll have like True Blood, Smallville, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I also have One Tree Hill. Like those are the DVD series I already have. I got those through thrifting and gifts. And I plan to get a lot more physical media. And I find myself, I always like watching the same shows. So why not just buy the DVDs and not have to like watch it on a streaming service, or like just put it on the DVD player, put the sleep timer on, and then just fall asleep watching my favorite shows. It's been so nice so far. It works perfectly. I've had no issues with it. I've had no issues with remote. It doesn't heat up. It's perfect. This thing heats up less than my laptop heats up.
Yeah, you know what? I actually do recommend you get one of those if you have a lot of DVDs. If you are one of those people that collect a lot of DVDs, TV series boxes, like, then I will recommend one of those TV. That being said, the problem with those TVs is that they're bulky. Okay, they're bulky. They take up a lot of space. The great thing about modern technology now is that we have flat screen TVs. So, the flat screen monitors, you could just put them on a desk and they don't take up a lot of space. With those, the problem with those TVs is that they just take up so much space and they're heavy. They're actually heavier, right? Yeah. So my recommendation is just get a DVD player or a Blu-ray DVD player, right? Get a flat screen TV, connect the DVD player to the flat screen TV, and that's it. You'll save up a lot of space and you just play all your movies. But then I also understand if you have some cassettes, right? Some VHS players, then you're probably going to need something much older. So yeah, then there's that.
Everyone's suddenly talking about the return of physical media, but are you signed up to your local library? This rise in popularity of physical media again, I think risks a lot of people just jumping in and over consuming these things, like CDs, books, DVDs, because a lot of these can be bought really, really cheap because they weren't in demand. But your local library. My flatmate got me a CD player for Christmas, and there is a temptation to just go and buy all the CDs in the charity shop because they're really, really cheap. But my local library has a massive CD selection. I got Radiohead and Rainbows, Hosier, and the very best of Bay City Rollers, because every time I watch Love Actually at Christmas I remember that Bye Bye Baby exists. Also, obviously books. I saw both of these in a bookshop and wanted to buy them, and then was like, you can just get these at the library. I posted a page of this on my story the other day and got a lot of messages asking what book it is. It's On Women by Susan Sontag. It's a collection of her essays, most of which were written during second wave feminism, like 1970s. Still got my Giggles receipt as my bookmark in there. And then also I'm just obsessed with non-fiction, food-related like essays and literature. So I was buzzing that my local library had All Consuming by Ruby Tando. Basically analysing and discussing how food is no longer a subculture, it's become mass culture. And some of the things on the back mentioned that are discussed in this book are bubble tea, cult cookbooks, influencers, Viennetta, trad wives, weekend supplements.
Do people still go to the library? I'm gonna be very honest. I haven't gone to the library in a long time. Now, when I was a kid in the 2000s and the early 2010s, I lived in the library. I lived in the library because the library provides you with a computer, internet access, DVDs, right? You can rent DVD. No, not rent. You can borrow DVDs with your library card. You can borrow DVDs. You can borrow CDs. You can borrow books. You can go in, use the, do research, use the internet. So I lived there. I lived in the library when I was a kid, because I didn't have my own computer. So that's the only choice I have. And also, nowadays we do have ebooks like with the Amazon Kindle, but people still do prefer paperback books. Paperback books still outsell ebooks, I think by like 55% or something like that. So, yeah, go to your local library.
The amount of people that I've seen buying CD players off of TikTok Shop and Amazon makes my blood boil. I just feel like we need to not be lazy, get our asses to the thrift. If you're worried about thrifting a CD player that doesn't work, there's usually electronic testing stations at thrifts, or you can also check out eBay, which has like buyer guarantee. The quality is so shit on things that you buy on TikTok Shop and Amazon. It just feels like taking the easy way out. I love physical media. I highly encourage everybody to get into it, but do so with intention. I promise you there are so many quality CD players out there that are secondhand. You just have to look.
Okay, CD players. I love these. I absolutely love these. Now, after CD players came like the MP3 players, where you could just, whatever music you have on your computer, you can just upload it to your MP3 player. And some of them had like, what was it? Some of them had like, I think like 30 gigabytes or I don't know. But I remember back in the days when an MP3 player had less than a gigabyte. Less than a gigabyte. Those were the days, man. Those were the days where like devices didn't even have 1 gigabyte, 500 megabytes. And you could put like maybe like 50 songs, I think, right? But what I would do with my old CD player is I had a friend of mine's. He would burn a whole bunch of songs in one disc, right? He would burn a whole bunch of songs into one disc. And I'll have like 50 songs or something like that in one disc, or like a gigabyte worth of songs in one disc, and then just, put on the CD player, and I have all my favorite songs there. Yeah, really cool. Really cool. I mean, back then, we would find ways to like, carry more with our devices. It was fun, man. It was fun. It was very unique. It was a very special time to be alive.
I watch everything on this old portable DVD player, so I'm going to walk you through my collection of TV shows and movies I own on DVD. The Fifth Element, Coyote Ugly, all 6 seasons of Sex and the City, the first season of Curb Your Enthusiasm, The Beach, Blow, When Harry Met Sally, Made in Manhattan, Runaway Bride, 13 Going on 30, Bad Boys 2, Sin City, The Matrix, and The Godfather. That's just part 1. Let me know if you want a part 2. I am obsessed with this experience. It's made me appreciate the entertainment so much more. It reminds me of my childhood, and I don't have to rely on a streaming service or Wi-Fi to watch what I want, when I want, and wherever I want, because I own it all. If you're interested in getting a portable DVD player of your own, I just started to source a bunch and have them linked to my Shop My, which is linked in my bio, and I'll be updating that weekly. Cute vintage tech gadgets. So check back in and let's do a part 2.
I actually never had one of those portable MP3 portable DVD players. I wish I did though. I wish I did, because you can, you didn't have to rely on internet connection to watch a movie, right? Same thing with the MP3 player. You don't have to be connected to Spotify or some shit like that to listen to music. I really hate the fact that a lot of what we do now, it relies on internet connection. So if the internet goes off, goodbye. You can't watch anything. You're gonna be staring at your walls, right? So this is why physical media is important. If anybody's gonna get hurt, is gonna be upset when the internet goes down, is me, because although I do have a lot of like saved digital files from years ago, I'm still one of those people that has a lot of digital stuff, right? That relies a lot on digital assets because I move, right? So, yeah, the portable DVD player is perfect, but the downside about, physical media is that it's physical. You don't have this one device, a smart device that has 100 gigabytes that you can have, multiple movies and like, 1,000 songs in it. Physical media takes space. So unless you're traveling with like a little book bag where you got your DVD player and your your portable DVD player, your MP3 player, and all that shit, then it's just gonna take a lot of space, And at home, unless you have like shelves in your house, it's gonna take up a lot of space in your house, a lot of DVD space. That's the downside about it. But that's also the beauty about it, is that it was back then it was a special way to decorate your home, just with a bunch of DVDs and physical media. It was awesome. It was awesome.
Physical media is not dead. You were just told that. So let's talk about the biggest misconceptions people still have about physical media. The first misconception is that physical media is outdated. I don't think it's outdated. I just think it's intentional. People aren't buying DVDs, CDs, and VHS because they have to. They want a slower, more present way to consume media, like myself. So retro doesn't mean obsolete. Sometimes it just means more meaningful. Another misconception is that streaming is forever, and that's kind of wild to me because shows and movies disappear from streaming platforms all the time. They get removed, edited, or locked behind new subscriptions, but when you own physical media, you own that forever and it's yours, period. There's no licensing issues, no sudden removals, and no message saying this title is no longer available. That recently happened with one of my favorite shows on Paramount Plus with As Told by Ginger, and I'm still a little salty about it. One misconception that I keep hearing is that physical media takes up too much space, but people collect books, vinyl, sneakers, and plants, but suddenly DVDs, CDs, and VHS are clutter. But me personally, space is not the real issue, value is. One other misconception is that digital quality is better. A lot of people don't realize this, but physical media often has better quality than streaming. There's no buffering and random compression drops. What you are watching is the full version, exactly how it was meant to be. For the fifth misconception, I've heard people say only collectors care about physical media, but physical media isn't just for collectors. It's for nostalgic people, parents, creatives, people who are tired of paying for 5 subscriptions, and people who actually want to own what they love. You don't need shelves of tapes to care about ownership. Another misconception that I keep hearing is that it's inconvenient, but inconvenient does not always mean bad. Putting something on intentionally, pressing play, opening a case makes you feel more present with what you're watching. So no, physical media isn't dead, it's just being reclaimed. So I want you to tell me, are you team streaming, team physical media, or both like myself? I kind of do have some streaming services still, but once I get every show that I like and every movie that I like, I am canceling every subscription that I possibly can. And what's one thing you still own on disc that you'll never give up?
One thing that she said that is very true, that I think everybody gets pissed off about, is these streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, and all that stuff. They remove movies, right? They remove movies and TV shows, right? So Netflix might have, I don't know, the Marvel movies, for like 6 months and then it's gone, right? But if you have the DVDs, you can keep watching them whenever you want. That's the difference. Right, but I was just thinking about this. It just came to my mind as I was watching these videos. One of the reasons why many people don't want to buy too many things, right? One of the reasons why people don't want to buy a lot of toys, a lot of physical media, is because nowadays, people cannot afford a home. The rent is too expensive. Do you know how many people are living with roommates? Right? So a lot of people believe that the residence is not going to be permanent, that they're not going to be there for more than 1 or 2 years. So if it's not going to be my permanent residence, then why would I buy anything to decorate my home? Because the whole purpose of buying physical media as well, like DVDs, CDs, toys, like plushies, posters, and I don't know, figurines, anime figurines, and all this stuff. The whole purpose of it was to decorate your room. But nowadays, with the cost of living, with the high rents, the average rent is like $1,500 at the lowest, and it goes up from there, $2,000, $3,000. Especially if you live in the city, it's gonna be like $3,000. And people know that they're not gonna have, they're probably not gonna live in a certain area for very long. They're probably not going to own a home anytime soon in the future. Gen Z, they know that they're not going to own a house. Like 80% of Gen Z or 90% of Gen Z, they're not going to buy a house. They know that. So why buy all this physical media when they know, well, where am I going to put it? Where am I going to put all these things? Like, I'm living with roommates. Why would I buy all these plushies and all this shit, right? I'm probably going to get kicked out, in a few months. And also with in the last 5 years have been absolutely horrendous for physical media, because if the economy has been so unstable that people are like, well, shit, I don't know if I'm gonna be here. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pay my rent. So it's not like before, in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, where like, even if you lose your job, you get fired, like 2 weeks later, you can find another job pretty quick if you apply to enough places, right? And you were able to afford a decent place to live. And people felt comfortable spending money on things that they don't really need, on disposable, having disposable income to buy games, toys, figurines, posters, DVDs. Because they knew, well, I'm going to be living in this town probably for a really long time, maybe another 10 years or so. But now it's like everything is so uncertain. People are like, well, why would I buy this stuff? I'm living in my car. I'm probably gonna be homeless. I just graduated from college. I'm not gonna find a decent job. And that's why, toy companies are targeting older people. Is the people that are 30, 40 years old that are buying these toys. And that's probably also going to change in the future. So yeah, man, it's getting pretty crazy out there. It's getting pretty crazy. So this is also something that's affecting physical media as well, where a lot of people are also not collecting physical media. I also wanted to throw it in there. Because yes, well, there is many people that are trying to go backwards, and to regain their sanity and their mental health from the smartphones and having a screen on your face all day. They are. There's people that just look at physical media and they're like, where am I gonna put it? I might as well just stick with Netflix. But anyways, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Whatever your thoughts are, make sure to comment below, like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for future notifications. Guys, it's your boy and the Matrix. Godspeed, baby.